everyone, welcome back to Tintana. My name is Anna. In today's video we're gonna do another review of another Pilot pen that I recently got. So this is the Pilot Custom Heritage 912 with an FA nib. So I got very interested in this pen because I attended a pen show and there was a stand there allowing people to test many different Pilot pens. I was able to test the 912 with an FA nib, and I really liked the way it flexes, and it's very close to the vintage pens that I tried in the pen show. I really didn't want to, I like vintage pens, however I don't know if it's something that I can maintain myself just because of the parts may not be readily available if I break it, and I just don't know anything about, maintaining those lever feeling mechanism of the vintage flex pen. So when I tried this out at the pen show, I thought, oh, maybe I would get a modern, flex pen. So that way, the pen would be, easier to maintain. But I wasn't able to test that pen extensively, but I really like the way it writes. Like instantly, I just did a few scribbles and I really like how it felt. And then from then on, I was on my quest to, getting, my next modern flex pen, if you will. Okay, so this is the box it came with. It's a gray cardboard box. And it comes in this clamshell type box plastic. This is what it looks like. You have your I don't know what this is, but I'm not sure if it's a warranty card or something of that nature because it's written in Japanese characters. You also have your Pilot user and care guide. You have one black ink cartridge. And of course, you have the pen itself. So the pen is black in color, and it's really well made. It's well built, and it has a little bit of weight to it. This is a little, I would say, heavy than the other Pilot pen that I have. So it really does feel well balanced in my hand. It's also a tad bit bigger than the other Pilot pens that I have. So for comparison, I am going to zoom this out a little bit so you can see clearly. So this is the Pilot Falcon with a soft fine nib, and it's in red. I'm gonna place it side by side this Pilot Custom 12 with an FA nib. So as you can see, okay, so this one is slightly a tad bit bigger or longer than this pen. It is also a tad bit wider than the other pen. Okay, so the converter in this pen may not fit, the one here on the Falcon, just because this has a wider barrel or a wider body than this one. Now, both of these pens come in 14 karat gold, I think, in rhodium finish. And as you can see, the appearance of the pen is very typical to a Pilot pen. It has a chrome finish. It has this metal ring in here that has that Pilot engraving. It says Pilot Japan, and then over here it says Custom Heritage 912, and then it has that FA sticker on it. I don't have a weighing scale, but it does feel heavier compared to the other one. So the cap is twist on, twist off, and the nib is, this is the Falcon nib. Okay, let me wipe the excess ink from this. All right, oops. All right, so this is what the Falcon or the FA nib looks like. So as you can see, it's cut out on the sides, and I think that, you know, provides this, you know, soft flexibility so that you can create, you know, line variations with it. Now the feed of this pen is made up of plastic, and looks like the section and also the body or the barrel is made up of resin. Okay, so let's take a look at the filling mechanism of this pen. So this comes in a Con 70 converter, and I will let you know what I feel about this converter. On one hand, I like it, but on the other hand, I dislike it. I like it because it has a bigger ink capacity. I dislike it because there is a learning curve to the filling mechanism, or how I fill this up with ink. So what do I mean by that? So this is a push type converter. So to prevent those ink bubbles from forming in your converter, you really have to submerge, you know, the section in your ink bottle, maybe up to this point. So while you are holding it, you have to keep it straight, and at the same time keep your hand steady, because you don't want to push hard and let the tip of the nib, you know, like push hard into your glass bottle, because that way there is a probability that if you're not careful, you're going to bend, you know, your delicate nib. So that's something that you need to be mindful about. So like I said, you have to keep your hand steady like that, and then make sure at the same time you're mindful of the section is fully submerged, and then slowly, you know, press this multiple times so you can get a full ink in your converter. But even though I follow the instruction carefully on how to fill this converter, I don't know if you can see that, but I still get a lot of tiny bubbles, you know, in this converter, and it bothers me a lot. So some people say that, you know, it's normal, but I don't like air bubbles in my converter, because in my opinion it will interfere with the ink flow. But I don't know exactly, but maybe if I do some experiment and switch it to a different converter with no bubbles, and then maybe I can compare, you know, the effect on the performance. But it is something that you need to be mindful about. Okay, all right, so now let's take a look at how the pen writes. So let me zoom this in so you guys can see clearly. I have conflicting opinions about this pen. So this pen just came recently in the mail. It was, I think, delivered like 2 days ago, and I was very excited, and I, you know, ink it up right away and try to test it. And at first I really like it, but the more I test it, the more I discover, you know, issues. So let's take a look at how this pen writes. So all right, so one thing I noticed about this pen is that it does have skipping issues. It does have some hard start issues. Let me zoom in more so you can see clearly. Okay, now it writes in reverse, as you can see, but it does have some skipping issues. Okay, this pen is very temperamental. Now they said that this pen works best with Pilot ink, so I fill this up with a Shin Iroshizuku ink, because I like the bluish black ink, which is what this looks like. All right, so let's write the name here. So this is, I don't know, I'm writing custom. This is custom. Okay, so there it is. You see that? Okay, custom, heritage. Okay. Okay, and it's 9. Okay, 1, 2 from Pilot. Okay. Okay, so once you get the pen started, I mean, it writes really well. For as long as there's no ink starvation here, I mean, you will, have a good experience with this. I mean, it writes like a dream. It's smooth and bouncy and soft at the same time. And the feel is very close to, the vintage flex pen. It may not be exactly the same, but more or less the same feeling. Okay, all right, so let's take a look at again how the pen writes. Okay, so I am gonna write normally, and let's see what that looks like. So maybe I'm gonna write the alphabet here. Okay, I'm just writing EFGHI. Okay, I am just writing normally. Okay, all right. Okay, so with this, you don't have to exert that much pressure. It's very easy to create line variations with this. So let's see the amount of flex that we can make with this pen. But I don't understand this hard start at all. I mean, when I encountered that hard start, I was like, is this really a Pilot pen? Because I never had an issue with other, Pilot pens having a hard start at all. So this is, I think, the very first Pilot pen that has issues. So it has hard starts, it has skipping issues, it has railroading issues, and it's just a disappointment. I'm disappointed by that because I am used to an excellent Pilot pen quality, you know what I mean. All right, so let's try to press some more and see the amount of flex we can make with this one. Like I said, this pen is very temperamental. You almost have to find that sweet spot in order to get the ink flowing. Let's do some flexing here. So it does have railroading issues as well, but like I said, the amount of flex is really like a dream. Like it's very soft and like there's no effort at all. Okay, all right, so let's do another. Yep. So again, once you get this up and running, it feels really nice. However, once it skips and once it railroads, that's when it gets really, really frustrating. Okay. All right, so now let's do another writing sample. I'm going to write, just like a short phrases here. And it's October. How time flies. All right, I'm gonna do hello, October. Okay. All right. All right, so that's what it looks like. Let's do another one. Okay. Okay. pumpkin. I'm gonna say spice. Okay. And there it is again, that hard start. Okay. All right. Okay. So let us zoom out and see what it looks like. Okay. So this is how the Pilot Custom Heritage 9112 performs. And what are some of the things that I like about the pen? Number one, I really like the way the pen feels, you know, in my hand. I really like the sturdy quality of this pen. It's well-made pen. I like the flex and the bounce and the softness that I don't have to press too hard on the paper. It just has that fluid, you know, writing experience. Like, you know what I mean, like you don't have to flex it too hard in order for you to create those thick and thin lines that will give you like beautiful calligraphy writing. So that is a delightful experience. Now, what I dislike about the pen, I think, is very obvious. I don't like the fact that this pen is very temperamental, that you know, it is very picky when it comes to the ink. Some inks work with it just fine and some inks don't. Now, I don't like the hard start at all. I don't like the skipping. I don't like the railroading. I mean, any flex pen will railroad and it will skip when it is starved of ink, but I do not get the hard start at all. So some people say that when this was made, you know, initially, I mean, this is made and designed for Japanese writing or Japanese calligraphy, and that they don't, I mean, you know, the Japanese characters, it's not like a continuous cursive writing, not like what we do in English writing. So it's you know, like short strokes, and they are not really that continuous, not unlike, you know, the English cursive writing. So it's not meant to be that way, to flex, you know, extensively in that fashion. I get that, but could you explain to me the hard starts? It's the hard start that I do not understand. So I get that it's not made for like an English, you know, cursive writing, but hard starts, I mean, when you're not even putting pressure on the nib, is something that you may find me complain about a lot, because I'm just not used to Pilot pens having that issue. Another thing that um I don't like about the pen is, you know, this bubbles here. So it's not the pen itself, it's the converter. I don't like that bubbles there. Okay, to me, I felt like there would be some surface tension in there. I feel like it would interfere with the ink flow and all that. So yeah, I might have to experiment with this a little bit more. So I will, you know, let you know what works best. Another thing that I dislike about the pen is the feed. So the feed cannot keep up with the flex. I mean, the flex is wonderful, but the feed, the plastic feed, just does not supply enough ink on the nib for a smooth, you know, writing experience, and that explains a lot of railroading. Now, I didn't know about this issue until I come across it, and then I did some reading online, and they say that it is something that is common with this model. You know, my opinion is this. If this is something that is common in this model, I think Pilot should do like a recall of this model if there is like a flaw in the design or something of that nature, because this pen is not cheap, right? So if it's a known issue, I don't know, maybe if there's some kind of defect or something like that. So Pilot has to supply and replace that part that's defective, in my opinion, at least. So they say that in order for this pen to function in its full potential, I have to consider getting like an ebonite feed, so that way I have like a consistent ink flow, and that will help with railroading and other issues that were mentioned. So I don't know whether or not I'm gonna get that special ebonite feed customized for this model, if it's even worth getting that. I don't know, I'm very conflicted about my opinion about this one. On the one hand, I really like it, but on the other hand, I hate it as well. So I'm kind of like ambivalent, because I don't like the hard start. I don't like that. I mean, I can understand that it skips and it railroads sometimes, but the hard start is something that I don't like. I don't understand that. I don't like that, having to do that. Okay, yeah, I mean, look at this. If I do this and it gets going, okay, let's zoom this in. So if it gets going, you can see really how wet that ink is, right? But how do you explain that hard start when the ink is actually really wet on this nib? Okay, I don't know if it has something to do with the tines or not, but this is a new pen, so do I have to tone the nib? I don't know, but like I said, all of the pens that I own, all of the Pilot pens that I own, they perform really well out of the box, except this one. Okay, so I would think about it if I would return the pen, or if I would get that ebonite feed, and hopefully that will solve the issue. So let me know what you guys think. Any feedback will be appreciated, and if you enjoy this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you again next time. Have a good day. Bye.